Hello, greetings, salutations. We are back. Wax Chronicles are back. In fact, for a sixth episode, counting episode 00. So fuck all you haters in the comments who haven't been there. But we're
But you
back.
bang.
Yeah, you guys crickets. Nobody talking, dude. Ain't nobody talking.
Because ain't
Anyway,
nobody listening.
good line, dude. We got 20 views. I don't know how many of them are you and me, but we got 20
All
views
right,
on the
dude.
last video, dude. We're
All
about
right,
to
dude.
hit
I
some
got
milestones.
I got multiple IP addresses, dude.
Yeah, I think we're actually on the channel. Like I was looking at this the other day about like 1,000 channel views behind. Well, it happens when you have 10,000 videos.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't care though, dude. Fuck the analytics, dude. I want the raw volume.
Seriously.
Anyway, we're back. We're back this week. And so for this week, Bailey and I had planned on just kind of chatting a little bit about what we see, and then also I know we alluded to it last week before I cut everything off and rudely interrupted him. But after looking back on it, the last week's episode ran so long. I'm kind of glad that we did, so we can dedicate more time to this. So, but anyway, what I'm alluding to is kind of going through some of the teams now that we're at the quarterway point of the season and assessing where we think these teams are going moving forward as we move into the kind of doldrums of the winter months, heading into All-Star break. So. And we're just going to kind of give our assessment on where we think some of these teams are going and their outlook. And so, that's what's up. So I guess you have anything you want to add, bro? Or?
Yeah. I mean, I guess, we've kind of alluded to it, with when we kind of cover some of the up-to-date basketball news lately, that it's like, okay, when do you get to the point where you can start to draw some conclusions about what you're seeing, for better or for worse? We're kind of at the quarter-way point. So, I think we're getting out of that small sample size finally, and I think we're kind of some things. There's been some regression to the mean, and then there's been some trends that maybe weren't expected that have sustained, and bared some things out. So I don't know. I guess, do we want to start with teams that have been underperforming, overperforming? What's your feel?
Yeah, there are a couple things I'd like to chat about before we start heading like on a team by team basis. I just wanted to see what you thought about, if you had any thoughts about like the Ja Morant entry. I know that's big news.
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, and it's weird because I know I wasn't super high on the Grizzlies going into the season, and like it's hard because then you'll look back and be like, well, if they don't play well, I wasn't anticipating a Ja Morant injury, but this obviously affects their prospects for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that one was pretty heartbreaking. I mean, I don't know. It feels like the Grizzlies are kind of a feel-good story every year, and they're still very young, but it seemed like they had maybe some hopes for higher things than 9 or 10 seed, kind of fighting for the play-in, and looked like Ja was willing to shoulder that load for him, and luckily I think what did it come back, just like a sprain?
I think so, yeah.
So, thank goodness for no like tears or any structural damage in there. But I don't know. It's just heartbreaking. Seems like he was taking a step forward. It seems like they were taking a step forward. The chemistry on that team is fun to watch always. And I don't know. It's just going to be a little bit sad now because, he was kind of the energizer for them. He kind of made the whole thing go. So it'll be interesting to see how some of the other players kind of fill in the gaps, though, because, there's a lot of young guys on that team that haven't had to, be like a primary, creator, facilitator, or, a guy who needs to go out and put up 20 shots a night. So it'll be interesting to watch, but yeah, it's heartbreaking. Hopefully, we obviously wish a speedy recovery to him. So.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny though. They first night without him, they literally destroy the Kings. Like the Kings are just a mess, dude. Like I don't. There's just no hope, dude.
Checking that box score, I was like triple take when I saw that. I was just like, what is going on, dude? They need to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Ben Simmons trade's the answer, but seems like something they got to do something.
Although it is kind of interesting to see Bagley finally get out of the doghouse or like play. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But who knows if they're just kind of dusting him off to try and make him an asset in some way, shape, or form. But it's something. Like, yeah, it's just interesting. It's like, that class with Trae Young and Luka and DeAndre Ayton was like so good at the top. And for Marvin Bagley to literally not even be able to see the floor. Yeah. It's just kind of crazy to think
about. Unreal. Yeah. And
especially on the Kings, on the Kings that doesn't have like, they're not this like just beacon of front court depth.
Mhm.
And
But
he
yeah,
can't.
it's one thing to not be able to get minutes, but then like kind of the circus surrounding them, over the last, good year or so, it's been, I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, Sac-10 has the reputation it does for a reason. It's well earned, and
Hmm.
it's kind of just playing out again in real time right in front of us.
Yeah. We need the Maloofs back,
Unfortunately,
dude.
seriously. Now there's a name I haven't heard in quite some
Yes.
time.
Yes.
Dang. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, also, let's talk about the Zion news, dude. Zion is coming. He's coming to a theater near you soon, and you're gonna rue the
I
day, dude. You fucker. You
Hey,
fucker.
I'm not the one who's been hating on him.
I
I
know.
have been waiting to ask you this question because, like we talked about, it's like awkward because things that I just normally bring up in conversation, I haven't had the chance to. But I mean, with the way the messaging of that injury was handled, with the rumors about Zion's future there, I mean, it's the laziest headline ever, but it's the Zion to New York thing. I mean, it already gets played ad nauseum. So for you as a Pelicans fan, the announcement of that seemed like a culmination of some things. And I want to know kind of your feel: optimism, pessimism for the season, for the long term, short term. Where's your head at?
Uh, in terms of like the reporting of the Zion injury, is that what you're kind of referring
Well,
to
yeah,
for the
and that
most part?
that we even know anything, and that he's now like, I mean, wasn't the news that he was cleared for some on court activity?
Yeah, I think he's cleared for like full contact
So
practicing and stuff. So
I guess my question is the whole, not to circus, but the
Saga,
whole
Saga,
whatever around that injury.
it's a
How do
Saga.
you feel about it? How do you feel about it now that there's like, it feels like maybe not the conclusion, but definitely a huge
I
change.
I mean, who knows what's true and what's false? Who's phony, who's fake, dude, as Swizz would say. But now looking back on it from the things I've gathered from all the beat writers and stuff, I am 100% in support of how the Pelicans handle this. It sounds like at every single turn they were doing exactly what Zion and his family wanted, and I don't really give a fuck what the fans think. I don't give a fuck what I think. Like I
Mhm.
don't give a fuck what the media thinks. I just want them to do everything they can to get Zion at least a second contract there. And so, if people, I don't care. Like people criticizing Griffin for trying to protect Zion and his family go fuck themselves,
Yeah.
because that's like what else is David Griffin supposed to do? He's
Mhm.
supposed to literally do, like he's been put in a spot unfairly by Zion and his family that it's like he's literally just like he's on the hot stove all day every day. It's like
Yeah.
you have to do everything we say or else guess what, we're gonna leave. And I think if Zion leaves, it's going to be because they can't put together a decent roster with winning players. But I'm 100% pro Pelicans on how this is handled. Like in terms of if the reporting is true about Zion's family and him not wanting to disclose things at certain points, and like if the things are true about like there were Pelicans staffers out there with him working out when it happened, and like
Mhm.
they've been in touch. Like I know that a lot of Pelicans fans complain that like, oh, they gave us this like fluid timetable and didn't come forth with like details that were present because they wanted to sell season tickets on like Zion's going to be back by the start of the
Mhm.
season. Like I know that, I mean, that doesn't really affect me because I don't live in New Orleans. So, I mean, it does kind of suck for Pelicans fan. But at the end of the day, I think that if any Pelicans fan is a true Pelicans fan, if you could say, hey, us being trying to protect Zion in this situation, if that's going to keep him here for 5 years, I'll eat 2 months of
Mhm.
season tickets
Yeah.
for Zion and his family to feel good about the situation. And
Mhm.
like it's not like you're not getting to watch Pelicans basketball. And if you only care about Pelicans basketball for Zion, then I don't feel bad for you. So
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad to hear that because I guess my take, being a Pacers fan and just a larger fan of the league was, I could see if I was a Pelicans fan that thought the Zion and New Orleans, relationship was even in need of repairing, but was repairable. This seemed like the best news for that crowd.
right,
Um,
right.
I'm sure, there's the doom and gloomers who already see like, oh, he's gone, blah, blah, blah. He's probably,
Right.
not even going to take like, the first extension he's eligible for. It's like, okay, that's like unprecedented. We need to see that before you assume that of somebody.
Especially for a guy who can't stay. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. I've heard that like a guy who can't stay healthy, but like we're acting like every team in the league wouldn't line up to. Well, not every team, but every like team with, you know, realistic cap space that could sign him wouldn't make an offer. I feel like a lot of teams would. So his health has nothing to do with it. But at the same time, too, it's like building trust with him is one of the most important things if you're trying to make him a franchise player and not alienating him. So, but at the end of the day, like any Pelicans fan who's like only in it for Zion, then you're not a Pelicans fan. You're a Zion fan. Just like, you know, I'm not a Lakers fan. I'm a LeBron fan, and I'm not going to get mad at people for calling me a LeBron fan and not a Lakers fan. So, not that necessarily has anything to do with it, but I think that, I mean, I'm happy with how things are going with like Zion, and like he seems to be healthy and we're getting close. And the Pelicans are coming to Oklahoma on December 15th. So I know it's going to be a very close call. That'll be the last time Pelicans are in OKC for the year. So I'm really hoping that, I know it would suck. You'd be on a minutes restriction. You'd be doing the
just to be able to see it would be awesome.
Yeah. Cause I still like, for anybody, I mean, I guess we haven't started this podcast till now, but Madison and I used to live in Washington, D.C., or the Washington, D.C. area. And pre-pandemic, I had purchased a real nice ticket to watch the Pelicans play in D.C., and it was Zion's rookie year. And it obviously got canceled due to COVID. And I was devastated because, like, Zion was going buck wild, especially on a lousy Wizards team. I was expecting 40 dunks. But anyway,
not so lousy anymore Wizards team.
Yeah. So Wizards team, they just throttled the other night. So fuck you, Wizards, revenge. I will say, dude, you see the Devontae? Let's turn this into the Pelicans podcast, dude. Did you see the Devontae Graham dinner?
I didn't.
What, dude? Get on Reddit.
Partner. My bad. Dude, that's in my blind spot right now.
Dude, the Pelicans were up. Story of every Pelicans game. They were up big time. Choke it down the stretch. Jazz are up 2 with like 2 more seconds on. It's like 26 on the game clock, 24 on the shot clock. Donovan Mitchell drives to the hoop and like shoots this like contested layup, body to body, with like 5 seconds left. Valanciunas like gathers the ball as he's like, D-Mitch misses the layup. Valanciunas, it was a greatly contested layup. It wasn't like some bunny he missed. Valanciunas like fights for the ball, falls to the floor, gives it up to Brandon Ingram as he's falling to the floor. Willie Green doesn't call a timeout. They're down by 2 in Salt Lake.
Dang.
And they're coming up the floor. Brandon Ingram, as they're crossing half court, like shovels it to Devontae Graham. He does like just the most like catch, plant, pull up, like just the smoothest, like I am shooting this fucking ball. Yeah. Just like receipt, because he was on like the bottom of the screen. And or I guess like it'd be the right hand side of the court. He like catches it from Brandon Ingram at half court, like plant left, plant right, pull up Donovan Mitchell all in him. And Devontae Graham's about 3 or 4 feet behind the arc. Purest swish you will see, dude. The Pelicans bench, they were going towards the Pelicans side of the court. The Pelicans bench was jumping up and down as it was going in because they're like, holy fuck, this is going to win the game. Sure enough, he literally canned that motherfucker. And they beat the Jazz at home. And I mean, it's all the stuff that Pelicans fans like me were talking ourselves into, and they chose Devontae Graham over Lonzo. It's like, this motherfucker can shoot, and he can shoot in the clutch. And that's what happened. It's like, this is really the first glimpse we've got of that all season, of him being a big shot maker. But like, dude, how fearless. You need to watch it. You need to actually go and watch it, because like he was so fearless, dude, to catch that ball.
First order of business.
Yeah, every intent, he just literally pulled into it, and it was just like a disgustingly pure shot. And like, there's this camera angle from the backcourt. So like, Donovan Mitchell just drove, missed the layup, Valanciunas snagged the rebound. And there's a picture from that side, like from the baseline. And it's like got Valanciunas laying in the foreground, like facing the hoop away from the camera. And then Devontae Graham on the right-hand side, just like ultimate pull-up. And Donovan Mitchell fully extended, like this far away from the ball. And the crowd is like all standing up, and it's like it was awesome, dude.
Dang,
it was so
that's
cool.
crazy.
And then they turned on. There was a home and home. They turned on and got butt fucked the next night. It sounds like we're back, baby.
Now that's Pelicans basketball.
Geaux Pelicans. Geaux Pelicans.
Geaux Pelicans.
Won't bow down except on the second night of back to back.
Right.
I fucking hate their tagline. Won't bow down. They bow down to every god.
Right. Yeah, you got to earn. Yeah.
Until Zion's
you got to earn that. Yeah. What is there any
and
like
it went
inside
out.
scoop? Have you heard any like even unsubstantiated rumors about his return timetable?
No, it's just imminent, mid-December, late December. We'll see. Um,
Nice.
so I'm excited. That was I know that we I feel like we're giving an undue amount of time to the Pelicans and not to the Pacers. We didn't talk about. I can't remember when the Pacers Lakers game was the other night where LeBron went off in OT and got the fans kicked out. Rightfully so. Uh, but dude, the nutsack on Chris Duarte to hit that corner three to tie the game to
Did
send
you
no
see
one for like
the league
holy
review?
yeah.
And one ball game.
Okay. I ain't giving a
Hey,
fuck.
fuck you. Hey, I know we just jerk off the worst team in the league for like 6 hours of podcast. Then you're like, we need to give spotlight to the Pacers, and that's what you come with.
No, it was more so
Them
how the
getting
Pacers
down
lost.
by LeBron.
Yeah.
No
Well,
love, dude.
I mean,
And then
dude,
some because they should have
because you're
won.
whining about fouls, dude.
Whatever, dude. That's why your
Steph,
franchise has the
you are Steph
reputation it
Curry, dude.
does. That's why the Indiana Pacers have the reputation they do.
Yeah, neither of
Okay?
them win titles, dude. Neither of them have an
you.
NBA title, dude. Fuck
Hey,
off.
at least some people respect us.
Take your ABA title and shove it, pal.
Fuck you. Anywho,
Fuck
dude.
off.
Anywho, as they just blew the lead to the T-Wolves and they're about to lose.
T-Wolves,
I'm
dude.
okay.
They were my sleeper team, dog. They're looking all
I'm
right.
totally okay.
They weren't a sleeper team, I guess, but
Do you want to go into any other like the Michael Porter Jr.?
yeah. Talk about that. Because that's devastating.
I mean, unfortunately, it was an all too predictable scenario.
It felt like a ticking time bomb. I mean, I kind of fell away from that for a while. I was like, okay, he'll be all right. But now that looking back, I was like, it did kind of seem like a ticking time bomb. Sorry, I hijacked what you're saying.
Well, no, I mean, like, you always play the results. It would have been really cool if his career played out. He had those 2 operations, and then that was the end of it. And he goes on to have like a long career. And I don't think that's impossible, but it's never promising news to hear this. It's terrible for the Nuggets. I mean, they still had high aspirations for the season. He was incredible for them last year. And he made great strides.
I'm almost wondering if he was being bothered by it this season because, like, looking at his performance this season was sort of night and day with what he was doing last year. And I mean, good for him for getting paid all that money before he got hurt. But I mean, I'm not being sarcastic at all. But that's just crazy that his performance dropped off that substantially when they needed him more than ever, and he wasn't giving them anything from like.
Well, yeah, and it was. I mean, that already. Those games where he was available for them already feel like a lifetime away. The way the season's been going, it just feels like, I don't know, there's so much news in a week, but yeah, I mean, he did not look great. And then I don't know if you ended up seeing the kind of the play where he, tweaked it, but man, it's, back knee problems. And, he's a laborer by trade, pours concrete and stuff like that. And the movement I saw out of Michael Porter Jr. when he tweaked his back was similar to that of like, a guy in his early 60s with the way his back and how he just
Larry Porter Jr.
Yeah, dude, it was, I don't know. I mean, I'd tell you to watch the highlight, but it's actually pretty sad, and I would actually advise you not to.
Yeah, I'm not the type that was like, oh my God, did you see Paul George snap his knee?
Well, no,
like, I don't want to see that shit. And I know it's not the same.
Yeah, it's nothing like that, but it's every bit as sad. At least in my eyes, and that's not even because I hate Paul George.
Yeah, it doesn't have to look
young.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate.
It doesn't have to look bad.
Well, and then the injury looked bad enough, and I think everybody was pretty pessimistic about it. I don't think anybody was like, yeah, he'll be back in like 4 weeks. I don't think anybody thought that, but to get the news today that I think he's got to have a procedure and confirmed out for the season. So
it's almost
longer.
Like, you don't have to, but that's just like to your point. It doesn't have to look bad because I remember there was that Jeremy Lin injury. I think it was on opening night or the second night of the season, like 6 years ago. He came down on his knee and he like just was in shock. And it's like, I don't even think it was from pain. He was just like, I worked so fucking hard all summer and all for it to be ruined on the first night. He just knew that it was done. And it was just like, God, it's heartbreaking to watch, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's quite unfortunate. You never want to see any player get injured, but you almost you root a little extra for guys who have that reputation of, you don't want to see an injury prone player get injured more because,
Right.
it's just sad. It's just sad because I don't
Right.
even know if people can be injury prone or if people are just super unlucky, but it's unfortunate.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Oh, there's one other thing I want to talk about that's not really that topical, but I thought was interesting. I was just doing some LeBron tracking, and at this point in time, I have a hard time measuring how many seasons he is away from taking over for the scoring title. But right now, if he averages 23 a game, it'll take him about 118 games to take over. So like that makes me feel pretty good because I know he hasn't played a lot of games this year. He didn't play a full
the
season last year.
scoring stretch he's been on like the last 4 or 5.
Yeah. He's averaged like 25 a game for the last 3 years, I believe. And so like if he like so I estimated conservatively like how many games will it take he's averaging 23. And I mean, if we're on that watch, 118 games, like conceivably could be, probably not gonna be done in 2 seasons just based on the fact that like his injuries are keeping him out of larger stretches of games.
Yeah.
But if he stays relatively healthy for the rest of the season and stays relatively healthy, there's a good chance we'll be really close by the end of next year. And which
That's
is like
crazy to think about.
I anticipate him playing past next year. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
I know LeBron understands. He's like smart enough to understand like stuff. He would have to try and want that record, dude. That's hard to get that record. How could you walk away?
Yeah, it would take something catastrophic.
Inconceivable. That's back into that.
Well, and like so many, for so long, people thought that was like insurmountable.
For real, I did too.
Staggering. Like just the longevity. So yeah, I don't know how you get as close as he's going. For like, didn't happen for LeBron. Darn.
Yeah.
No shot.
No shot. I know you and I kept an eye on that because we're just fans of we don't matter, but like that's something that would mean a lot to me if LeBron got that, to be able to witness his career point A to point Z.
Well, just like put it in perspective. Sorry to interrupt, but like I remember looking on the back of basketball cards and be like, okay, the guys who scored 2,000 points in a season, best scorers in the league. And then when you do the quick math on that, it's like, what is it, like 38 some odd thousand
for Kareem
record? Yeah.
Yeah.
You divide that by the 2,000. I mean, that's 19 seasons of being like what you consider to be like
elite level
an elite scorer. Like that's just
that's
unreal. It's unreal.
Yeah. So I'm very hopeful that he can stay healthy for the rest of the season, keep that average up. And then like if they can just put in 1.5 more like good seasons of 25 plus, dude, he's gonna be good if he decides. And like, I don't know, dude. It seemed like, you and I have been discussing this since his Heat days. Like, well, I wonder if he could do it. Like, what's it gonna take? So it's something that's been on our radar, and I'm sure a lot of other people's radars, but it's so cool to be like, holy fuck. We might actually see a scoring team.
Yeah. I'm still holding out for the 40,000, 10,000, 10,000.
40,000, God, that would be. It's just hard, dude, because it's like all these records always seem unbreakable, but it's like, I hope it doesn't get broken in my lifetime.
The thing is,
it's hard to see anybody ever breaking that record.
Like the ones that are like a single game or a single season, but some of these longevity ones, I think you can kind of start to reach an upward bound. Right. And I think we're starting to see that in a couple, like, so to like crossover sports, like the Tom Brady thing. It's like, what is he, 45, 46?
Yeah, 45, I think. Dude, it's TB 12 inches to you,
dude. But over there, I mean, it's like, even if we're pushing the upper, so like even if we find out other quarterbacks can play that long, the odds of like avoiding serious injury that I mean,
not with how they're reffing the game these days, though.
True. It's
that's not. I'm not trying to make
one hand touch with the.
I ain't trying to make this into
QBs, dude. No, I mean it is what it is, but no, I think
no, but you have a point there though. It's like Tom Brady Super Bowls and shit like that stuff seems insurmountable. Who the fuck knows though? All I know is it ain't. I don't want to have.
Well, just look like. Well, let's not make it a football. I was like, chips down on the Chiefs, dude. Mahomes, what happened? What happened?
Right.
Anyways, let's get into the quarter point look back.
Don't you
Good
mean
with that?
let's get it, man?
Let's get it, man. So when we did our season predictions, we kind of
Predictions.
We grouped it into 3 categories, the bottom feeders, the kind of play-in teams, and then the kind of legit playoff teams. And I guess we'll just go by conference and look at kind of where those sit right now and kind of what surprises there are if we think that's, where things are going to end up. I don't know. We'll just dive into the Eastern Conference. We got the Cavs, Raptors, Pacers, Pistons, and Magic, and that's in descending order. As of today, those teams would miss the play-in.
Repeat those.
Cavs, Raptors, Pacers, Pistons, and Magic.
Well, let's talk about the Pacers. Let's talk about them.
They kind of stick out like a sore thumb. They actually have a positive point differential.
Oh God, they'd have to be the only non-playoff team in either conference, right? That has that.
Yeah,
I
believe
guess
so. I mean, there's teams in the Western Conference like I think they're as positive as the Mavs are negative, but the Mavs are a 4 seed. So if you're one of those people that thinks like point differential like proves out over the course of a season, you'd have to be, not thrilled about the Pacers start, but there's plenty good. I mean, when they win, they win. They lose a lot of close games. They've blown a lot of big leads.
So your official ruling is you're positive on them for the rest of the season.
Do I think they're better than this? Do I think they're better than 9 and 13? Sure.
Okay.
I wouldn't put them as a shoe-in for the play-in. I don't think that's smart to do. If anything, I think there's a pretty clear case to be made that they're going to be like the odd man out.
Interesting.
But there's still a lot of season ahead of them, but definitely not where I wanted to see things at this point.
Do you want my official ruling on them?
Mm-hmm. You did get prep time in, so you think they will? Okay.
I think they're going to turn it around, dude. I'm going to give them the SCSA thumbs up here.
Where do you predict them ending?
I could see them be. I mean, I'm going to put them right here, like fucking Marbury.
Marbury.
Ray Marbury. I mean, I don't see them being worse than a 500 team. They have all the pieces that they had. They're working on integrating everybody in, getting healthy. And like they have Rick Carlisle, and I'll never bet against Rick Carlisle. So I just feel too good about what they've proven with this exact squad before to add a coach that I know is a known positive. I can't see this sustaining like this. Like you said, there's been too many fluky losses.
Well, yeah,
and like even that, like that Lakers game, that could have been a win because there's very good.
Honestly, dude, seeing the games that I've seen, I've probably seen a good chunk of 75% of their games this season. There's been 7 coin flip games, true like coin flip feeling games to me, where it's like 1 or 2 bad breaks at the 4-minute point in the fourth quarter, and they never got control of the game back. It's just like I don't know, man. It seems like some bad luck up to this point.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're going to be they're trending upward for the rest of the season.
I like it.
Because Stone Cold Sizzle.
I guess I'd have to agree. I'd probably put them as one of the lower playing teams.
That's hard, dude. I still see them like being at least the 6th, dude. I don't know, man.
Or health withstanding. I mean, there's a chance though that I guess with how bad the bad teams are, all it would take is one team falling off, and you could have winning records into the 9 and 10 seed. I mean, that's not impossible.
I don't know. I just think that the Pacers are just like, there are too many things I've seen and know about that organization that make me feel like it can't be like this for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah,
maybe that core has worn out its welcome. I'm not saying it's been together forever, but like maybe it's just not like the LeVert Brogdon, Sabonis, Turner thing isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time believing that Rick Carlisle can't make something out of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It's like if you add up all their individual values, probably points to like a 47-win team.
Yeah, that's just like the hard question, dude. Is like Carlisle, what he did with the Mavericks last year, when he's like, you have like one,
Mhm.
albeit superstar in Luca, and then like Tim Hardaway
Tim.
Jr., um, who's a good shooting guard, and then Porzingis, I don't think he played up to his standard last year, or the standard that's been created by the media, and so it's like you're playing with dudes like, I mean, maybe these
Here's the
guys that he
thing,
plays better,
though.
like Cleaver and Powell and Dorian Finney-Smith and fucking
I'll say this: there's
Jalen Brunson in this mother.
it's. I'm not talking like it's not insider talk to say that are we finally going to ask the question? Do Sabonis and fucking Miles Turner work together? Like that's old hat at this point. But
Yeah.
does if you're a believer that that will never work, I mean, is that the fatal flaw then? Like, if you're somebody who thinks that this is, even if things break right for them and they end up a 7 or an 8 seed, if you're the pessimistic Pacers fan, how do you look at this and be like, we got Carlisle, we got all this talent, and your ceiling is, and that's if a lot of things break right the rest of this season is like a 7 seed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's I'm a believer in the Turbonis, which is the Pacers affectionately named.
It's not as good as, dude, you've heard the Bulls backcourt nickname, right?
The current one.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
Kendall Gill addressed it on the Chicago. Kendall Gill addressed it on the Chicago post game. You haven't heard this?
Mm-mm.
The Balzac.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever
No,
heard.
that's actually the best thing I've ever heard.
No,
So
I
how
love
dare
it,
you.
obviously,
The Balzac.
but it's dumb as shit.
No, it's not, dude. It's brilliant.
Yes, it is. What?
No, it's actually smart, dude. It's like that's what the good nickname's about. It's a good play on the names. But anyway, I like about the Pacers. Like, I feel like Carlisle, and this is just purely conjecture and speculation, but it feels almost as if Carlisle is giving it a shot. And I would have to assume that he has some influence on player personnel decisions in that organization, just based on like his reputation and his resume. And so, like, I would almost think at a certain point he's going to be like, you know what, it's like the classic, NFL talk. We're on NFL Talk Live, but it's like when a coach and a GM are there and they have a quarterback from an old regime, they might give it a shot. And it's like, this wasn't our quarterback. We're taking a quarterback. And it's like, it almost feels like that for the larger roster. It's like, this is the roster that's put in place. You guys did some good things, but I want to get more out of this. And we need to get rid of X, Y, and Z to do that.
It even feels that way just based on like, I mean, a lot of people have tried to make more of the Brogdon extension than I think there is to it. But I think Carlisle came in, Brogdon, is the leader on the court. He's the leader in the locker room.
Allegedly.
There's questions around that. There's been some issues, no doubt, over the last two to 3 years in the Pacers locker room, and he's been, quote unquote leadership during that time. So yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna, but
stoking the fires, dude.
I mean, Carlisle came in, and a lot of the Pacers stuff. Brogdon's been the leader. He got the extension, and it seems like you said, Carlisle's kind of assessing the value of his guys, and then around December 15th, when some of those other players' extensions, when certain players become trade eligible, I think we're going to see the landscape change quite a bit. And the Pacers have a lot of, guys who can help good teams on affordable contracts. So
yeah, that's something I've had private discussions about.
If there's still 4 games under 500 2 weeks from now, I wouldn't be surprised if every player except Brogdon and Duarte at this point are
even
going to get, I don't think he's set in stone there.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, it really feels like Brogdon. I mean, obviously they want to keep a lot of these players, but they believe in the talent there too. Otherwise, why would they have them? But I don't know. It'll just be interesting to see. Well, I guess, I don't know. Is there any other surprises in the bottom feeders that you were? Raptors, Cavs, Pistons, Magic?
I think that's exactly who we forecasted. I mean, I know there was a point in the season where the Cavs were looking interesting and feisty, but
Mhm.
obviously they're not. I mean, they're still playing all right, but like they're not in the
Yeah,
same
I mean
spot.
it's not impossible that they fight till the bitter end for a playing spot.
And
It's not
I think
impossible.
they just got to have Mobley back. Mobley, but I mean, who knows how sustainable it's going to be without Colin Sexton for the rest of the
Yeah.
season. So
I mean, they're filling in the gaps a little bit.
yeah, I don't know that stuff. I mean, that's why people come to us for expert advice. That's why this is going to be the #1 podcast in the entire world, in the fucking world.
So I got a question. Of those bottom feeders, do you only predict the Pacers coming out of that group?
Yeah.
Who would you drop down? Would it be, I mean, right now, Celtics, Hawks, Sixers are all at the
The
8, 9, 10.
Balzac.
But then there's, Hornets, Wizards, a couple names up there, Knicks.
Yeah, I don't believe in the Hornets still.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with them. But anyway, that's a good segue. Let's talk about the playing teams here.
Yeah.
Unless you had something else to add. I'm sorry.
No. That's exactly. I was hoping you'd pick up on the segue. I was laying.
Let's just call it out.
The breadcrumbs.
Yeah, dude. A segue only works if you call it out. Inside tip.
God,
all the podcasters who look to us.
Look, we're pros here. Okay. So yeah, it's in the East. Or wait, do we want to do the bottom feeders in the West, or do you just want to go all the way through the East?
I'm cool with it. Let's just do the East.
Yeah. Okay, so we got the 7, 8, 9, 10. We got Knicks, Sixers, Hawks, Celtics, and there's a half game separating the Knicks from the other 3 teams. So they're very tightly knit.
Tell me what you think about the Hawks.
Talk
to me. Tell me your name.
I think Trae Young's looking good. I think they're starting to get some of their mojo back. I think they're going to ascend to the next level. I don't think there's any question about it. I think I'd honestly be shocked if they weren't out of the play-in. That'd be one of my biggest surprises. What about you? Boo!
Hey, Batista is entered the building.
You're whack. You're whack.
I think that just like you did the Evolution, dude, I'm giving you the thumbs down on that Hawks prediction, dude. I know that they have Trae Young, he's great, but I've been lukewarm on them at best this season. I think what they did last year was awfully fluky with their win streak and their playoff run, and so I can see them being a playing team.
Okay.
And so I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll have a better. I'm seething.
I got a proposition for you, since it took us 6 or whatever episodes to get 1 point of contention. Let's make a friendly wager on the old fucking Atlanta Hawks and how this season's gonna end.
So how about you take it up with my agent, dude?
What's it gonna be, commenters? What's gonna be?
Let us know. So wait, how are we gonna measure this?
It's gonna
what their winning percentage is now versus what it is at the end.
No, I thought they're gonna jump out of the playing group.
Okay.
You think they're gonna finish playing or lower?
All right. Yeah.
Say less.
Say it in the comments. I'm down for whatever.
And if you guys don't come up with any ideas, shout out. We're gonna dunk you. No, we'll just make some up next week if you guys don't give any bomb ass suggestions. So
yeah. So blow it up.
Yes, please. Batista getting the Monday night rub, dude. All right.
Thank you to Batista.
Knicks,
how do you feel about the Celtics? How do you feel about the Celtics?
I don't know. I mean, they got the talent, but they got the new coach. They got the obvious chemistry.
Dude, to me, it feels like they're in purgatory. With I like the Jalen Tatum, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown combo, but there's a hard ceiling on that for me at this point.
Yeah.
And
do you think? I mean, just as like a viewer, whose side do you take in some of this stuff? The Marcus Smart, Dennis Schroeder, and I know that like we've blown it up and it's probably much ado about nothing, but like, do you think Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum need to like be better about, involving their teammates, in a more effective way other than like rest?
I don't know.
I'm going to rest and then I'll ISO again for the next there's definitely some of that in their games.
Yeah. And I saw some, again, I mean, I'm sure 90% of the shit I read is false when it comes to rumors and reports, but like
Mhm.
that there was a report I saw the other day about Jason, like people feel like Jason Tatum is about himself in a way,
Himself.
and he's only about winning if it's on his terms. And
Yeah.
it's like I'm only interested in winning if I'm scoring,
Yeah,
if
he's
I'm getting
drinking
my
his own
touches.
Kool-Aid. When
So-
I step out there, I'm the best, and I'm gonna
And
put
so
shots up like I'm the best. It's like,
yeah, so I don't know. I just think that like I think they can coexist, but it's just like some teams just don't if those are your 1A and 1B, I know that they still both have room to grow, but it feels like they're a little too redundant.
mhm.
And I just feel like they have a ceiling. Like they're not that team will, as constructed or with similar pieces around Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, will
Mhm.
never make it till the NBA
Well,
finals,
and
in
not to
my opinion.
mention too, like, I kind of was like erring on the side of taking like DeMarcus Smart, but him and
DeMar,
Schroeder
you say
both.
Demarcus Smart?
No,
Oh, they said Demarcus Smart.
run the tape back,
Jason Brown and Demarcus Smart.
guys.
We're,
We know
we
basketball.
are the biggest basketball fans you've ever met.
Um, but as far as like role players go, if you were to line up all the role players in the league and be like, who are two guys that are like, secretly think like, even though they've accepted that their role players are like, yeah, but I'm still the best motherfucker on this team. I would guarantee it's
Schroeder
Marcus
and
Smart and
Smart.
Dennis fucking Schroeder.
Dennis
So,
Schroeder.
excuse me, DeMarcus Smart.
Demarcus
Um,
Schroeder.
but no, I mean it's I don't know. I'd be shocked if they were at the 10 spot, but I'm not convinced that they won't be out of the play-in.
Yeah, I feel
Um,
like they're kind of on par with my expectations. And so for my official ruling there, I'd probably go with
what?
Mr. Monday Night in this motherfucker. That's
What
how I
of
feel
a
about
kind? Dude, that's Battle Creek's own, dude.
yeah, you got that right, dude.
Big Johnson Bronson. Oh, woo.
Ainga.
All right. Sixers and Knicks. Anything to say on them?
I feel like the Sixers, they missed Embiid for a couple weeks,
Hmm.
and things are obviously tumultuous there. But I feel like Ben Simmons will get traded at some point this season, and they will get
Yeah.
more help, and they'll have the 1 seed and go fo in the playoffs because I'll never give up on the Sixers. So that's my belief.
I
So
think
I guess to make it official,
oh god, too clutch. Oh my goodness. God, I keep losing my train of thought because I was gonna say, speaking of Ben Simmons and like, the Pacers kind of underperforming, like Celtics underperforming, Hawks, blah blah blah. With some of these teams that probably had higher expectations, I wonder if that's going to cause for more trade activity. It's more shuffling around the middle, with things less,
right?
you know, in a season where you got the top 8 seeds and they're head and shoulders above the competition, things are a little more locked in. But I don't know. It's going to set the stage for a pretty interesting remainder of the season, I think.
Yeah, trade deadlines. I mean, who knows? It's impossible to predict. It'll probably be deader than a doornail, but it should be exciting. I feel like.
Yeah, yeah. No, there's a lot
I
to be
mean,
excited
I
about.
feel like with some of the teams with the expectations they have to be in the positions they're in, there's going to be some like, um,
Buyers.
Lakers. But like, funniest joke in the world. Yeah, I just feel like there's going to be people wanting to do things based on underperformance. Yeah,
Yeah.
D.
Let's do you want to go to the top 6
Yeah, let's
seeds?
take it top tier.
Okay, we got Nets in first. Currently Heat and Wizards tied for second. Bucks and Bulls tied for fourth.
Bucks. The
And
Balzac.
And then we got the Hornets at the 6th seed.
All right, who you want to chat about? Fucking Bulls.
I mean, I'm not surprised by it. So no, this is about where I think they could finish.
You're thinking a
Yeah.
little of the Mr. Monday Night.
I'd have to agree. What about you?
I was a little bit colder on them at the beginning of the season, but now it seems sustainable. So honestly, I'll second that with a
Nice, dude.
R.
I love this, dude. I love this. What about the Wizards, dude? I mean, they're pretty much the
that's
elephant in the
pretty
room, in my
overrated.
opinion. Yeah.
emphatic, dude. I wish I
Where do
had
you
two
think they'll end
Batistas
up though? How far do they
playing,
fall?
playing
Playing
probably, but I could see them literally dropping out of the whole fucking thing. What's their record right now?
13-7,
What's their point differential?
worse than the Pacers.
Yeah, so I don't see it as sustainable. Like they have Bradley Beal and a bunch of role players, and I think they have good role players, but they're
Mhm.
role players, and I like yeah. If put it this way, dude, you put it the best way. It's like the Pacers and the Wizards. If they played 7 games, I think the Pacers would win 5 of those.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I
I
think
think
I
that
think the Celtics are better. I think the Sixers are better. The Knicks are better. Maybe not the Hornets because I don't believe in the Hornets that much. I just I don't see it, dude. I don't see it as
yeah,
being sustainable.
yeah. I mean, it feels good for Bradley Beal and like
Agreed.
even though I'm not like a huge like Kuzma, Montrez, KCP, it's good to see those guys get outside of LA and
Yeah, I like to see
prove
Montrez
some stuff.
get some shine because that
Yeah,
motherfucker
yeah.
they did him dirty, dude.
For sure, for sure. So it's some of the redemption around that's been good. If they end up as the 3 seed, well then fucking
Then I don't know anything if they are a
yeah,
3 seed at the end of
then
the season.
mark my words, we will stop recording at that point if they end the season as a 3 seed. But I don't know.
Yes.
Stranger things have happened. I don't know. I guess there's only a couple real surprises in the East. A lot of these groups kind of mesh with where you would expect. Um,
Yeah, I
I
mean
don't
the
know.
Wizards. Yeah, I think you were right though. They're the elephant. The Wizards are the team. I feel like that everybody agrees drastically outperforming expectations. Um,
So let's put a bow on the East with this. Who do you think's coming out of the East?
the Nets.
The Nets.
I mean, it's the Nets. Dude, imagine if they had Kyrie back.
Yeah.
All it
I
takes is 2 shots and he's back, dude.
all right. All right.
I mean, dude, explain to me how a team's going to beat the Nets in a 7 game series. Explain to me how someone's going to stop KD. The Bucks almost couldn't stop KD last year. I mean, the Bucks would be like maybe the only team that I could conceive doing it, or the Sixers sweeping the Nets. But um,
I don't
no,
know.
Sal, sell my joke.
What did you
Oh,
say?
I said the Sixers will sweep the Nets.
What freaking planet do you live on,
I
dog?
mean, who do you think's going to win?
Uh, I'd I'd say the Bucks.
If you put okay, but I mean, second would be the Nets, correct?
I'd say between them and the Heat.
But yeah, I guess you've been. I remember the season preview. You were a big believer in the Heat. Seems like.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also like the first person to shit on Heat culture. They got a bunch of fake fucking tough guys. They just
AK Fugazi.
yeah, they just love talking about themselves, but I don't know, man. When you like if it comes down to like playoff basketball and you're telling me they have healthy Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Tyler
He's
Hero if he's
stupidly
playing
locked in.
like this, and Kyle Lowry, not to mention the other, solid role players they have, the, future, the once and always MVP Duncan Robinson.
Dunk him.
Um
Yeah.
Duncan.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just like their talent and like I don't know. I mean, they seem like a team built for like success in the playoffs. So switch everything, guys that can play both ways, guys that fight. And
PJ Tucker.
I don't think I can say the same about the Nets. I don't feel the same way. Like as much as I trash the like Heat culture stuff, like they do have a collection of guys there that I think are built for that sort of stuff. So
Dude, they got a bunch of dogs, dude.
a
But
bunch
at the
of
end of the day,
dogs. Bunch of
2 out of the 5 guys playing for the Nets are James Harden and Kevin Durant. So I mean,
yeah.
dude,
I
there's a
mean,
reason when the Nets assembled, we were like, this is cheaper than the Prime Warriors.
yeah, and then Harden is not the player he was.
I I mean, if I had to give a player one of these, I'm giving Harden this, dude. He's been too he's been too good for too long to be this dog
Okay, dude. Okay, I never thought I'd see the day. Literally,
Yeah,
you're
I'll be
hyping up my
positive.
man.
Well, let's not get it straight, dude. Let's get it straight. I'm
Let's
not
not
hyping
get
him
it
up.
straight. I want
Let's not get it straight.
to.
Let's get it by. I don't think. I just think that he will normalize his like production will normalize and regress to the
Yeah.
mean, and his shooting splits are just. I think I saw yesterday his field goal percentage is down like 6 or 7 points this year, which is just I don't expect that
Well,
for the whole season.
if like to be my own devil's advocate, it's like if this is how they look when Harden's like getting his legs under him and without Kyrie, like if
And Joe Harris
Harden,
playing like
I mean, it's shown that the worst case scenario for the Nets would be just a healthy Kevin Durant, barely, a recovering James Harden and no Kyrie. That's their worst case scenario. That team has a shot, and I think they're going to
yeah,
be better than they are now. So,
yeah.
um,
I don't like it. I'm
that's fair.
scared.
I'm not going to argue against that
I
too much.
scared, goddamn.
Do you want to hop into the West?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So the bottom five, we got Kings, Thunder, Spurs, Pelicans, Rockets, which is
And pretty close to how we predicted. I know we both have
about
the
as
Pelicans to play.
predictable.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the T-Wolves up instead of the Pelicans or the Spurs.
I
is
think I had
about-
the Spurs. I forget. I had the Grizzlies out, I believe.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, yeah, like the bottoms have been very predictable this year. And like, I guess like the Thunder have been feistier than we thought. Pelicans have been more horse shit than we thought. But everything else seems pretty much par for the course in my mind with the bottom of the West.
Yeah. And ultimately, like, I don't know how you feel about the teams in the West, but like up top, it's Warriors, Suns, Jazz, Mavericks, Clippers, Lakers, which are like all legit playoff teams.
Mhm.
And then you have Blazers and Nuggets in that next group. And it's
I
like,
feel bad for the Nuggets too, because they've been between Jamal
Ups.
Murray, Michael Porter, and Nikola Jokic.
yeah.
They've had role players go down. I mean, it's just tough, dude. What's happening to them?
Yeah. It's almost like the Suns of 2 years ago. Granted, they weren't missing like Jokic or Murray, but do you remember that season? It just seemed like like Will Barton it was just like everything, just constant. And I don't know. I just feel like they're a perennial unlucky
Yeah.
when it comes to injury stuff. But I was just gonna say that like with the Blazers and the Nuggets being like presumptively your 7-8 in this like fantasy layout, I've set up like even those bottom two playing teams are closer to not playoff teams than I think to legit playoff teams in the West, whether that's the Grizzlies, Pelicans, or T-Wolves.
Explain that. I don't know if I understand.
I feel like there's just a gap. And maybe the T-Wolves and Grizzlies can like prove that through the course
Oh,
of
I
the
see what you're
season.
saying.
But I feel like there's a drop off at the eight.
There are contenders, and then there are pretenders. There's not this in between.
Yep. There's a cutoff at the 8. And maybe that's just like the old way of thinking after watching basketball the last 2 years. And I need to give some of these teams that are emerging a little more credit. But anyways, that's why like I was gonna say, even if we had the Pelicans maybe in like the play-in in our preseason predictions, it's like
43 wins, homie.
You still wouldn't have been super confident about that against them going against the Blazers. Like,
but if they make it in there, watch the fuck out.
True. If Zion's healthy, dude, anything's possible. I guess, do you see a chance for any of these teams to jump up out of that? Kings, Thunder, Spurs. Okay. And that's just
honestly speaking, like if Zion's back and he's healthy, I could see them winning.
They could rattle off
a little more than 50%. Yeah,
and healthy.
Yeah, and I guess I haven't seen that yet, but like I could see them winning 12 out of 20 games.
Mm-hmm.
I could see them winning 13 out of 20 games, and like that gets them close to 500, and 500 is conceivably a playing team.
Yeah.
So I can see them like obviously they have a lot of ground to make up, but I just don't. I mean, I think it's just because I believe more in Zion than I believe in any other team in the bottom of the West. Like I don't believe in the Thunder to like make this huge jump, or the Spurs, or the Rockets,
or the Kings. I mean,
or the Kings. Yeah, it's like
I'm sorry,
I don't know.
If this Kings team, and I know they've had their couple little injuries too, but this is the ceiling with this Kings team, 8-13.
Right,
it's done.
Like it feels like De'Aaron Fox is writing on the wall.
Yeah. Yep.
It's
just
like
move on.
They need to literally destroy everything.
Yeah.
Just like, I mean, the Kings, they are where we thought they were going to be, and they're going to remain there for the rest of the season, I'm sure. So
we're going to be seeing a lot of that, a lot of RVD on that.
Yeah, the Sacramento RVDs.
A lot of rolling thunder on that.
Yeah, that's my official ruling on
them. Yeah, I mean that one's not very shocking. Do you want to go through the play-in teams?
Yeah.
We got Blazers, T-Wolves, Grizzlies, and Nuggets, and it's pretty similar to the East in that they're all And even the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers and Blazers are tied technically for the 7, but I think the Lakers have one more win just because scheduling. So that next group is very tight. But I don't know. The Nuggets are at the 10. It's unfortunate. Do you think they're this one? I'm interested. Okay.
I think they're going up. If Jokic is back and healthy, it's like we talked about in the season preview. If he is healthy, they will win games because he is so good. And I think their role players are good enough even without Michael Porter Jr. because he wasn't providing them anything. They were winning games with Jokic was playing. So it's like you have Aaron Gooden. How many more names am I going to botch? Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris. Like they have good players.
Yeah.
Will Barton,
Campazzo. It's been crazy, dude.
Jeff Green, J. Michael Green, you name it. They have good players with Jokic.
Every time they've needed Will Barton to step up and be like, okay, he needs to be 20 a night guy. It feels like the last 4 years he can do that. So,
dude, do you remember when I lived in Denver? And this was like right before Jokic broke out, and like I was at a Nuggets game. I forget who they were playing. Like it was Will was carrying them the whole night, and I was like so upset because I was like, why are these motherfuckers chanting Jokic? They should be chanting Will Barton. He's carrying this team. He was like, because it's like you said, dude. It's like Will Barton is one of those players, and this is another guy that'd be cool to look at in history. Like, if I could like learn about all the players like Will Barton through the history of time, where like you would never call him the best player on the team, but they're just an alpha dog motherfucker who can win games and carry teams, even if you're playing with the MVP. Like, I know there's other guys like this throughout history who average like career 15 points a game, who are just fearless, just like big bald motherfuckers who would take big shots and knock them all down. And I don't know. I mean, you know how I feel about Will Barton. So,
oh god, dude, he's one of the sickest dudes in the league, hands down.
So I don't know. I believe in guys like Will Barton, like their tenacity, their
I mean, you're at like
the size of their nutsack.
If there's a gap, boy, sus. I mean, he's got to be one of the ideal like stopgaps. If you need a guy who can just like get 20 and fill in on offense, I mean, he's got to be one of those guys.
What is Gary Harris even playing?
He's on the Magic now, right?
Yeah.
He's
that just made me think of that. I think he's on the Magic.
Yeah, I think he was in that trade.
Does he even like that's
DNP
crazy?
CDs, but
that is crazy. That is crazy. He was like untouchable for like that year and a half. It felt like.
Oh God, or is he injured now too? Dang.
Anyway, I don't want to derail it too much. How do you feel about the Blazers?
Yeah, there was a day when it was like Gary Harris or Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray, right?
Choose someday. It's like
right
now that's not even.
I mean, Gary Harris is.
Well, it was crazy, dude. He had like Gary Trent Jr. Like people are starting to really hype up his 3-and-D, but like undersized like spark plug, but like still play defense. And like Gary Harris, the whole 3 part of that was just like he his first couple of years he was shooting like close to 40%. I feel like on like good attempts, and then now he's just like a negative.
He's a shell, dude. He's a shell.
I mean, I hope he can get his stuff turned around, but I don't know. That's a weird one.
Right.
Wow. Sorry to go off on the tangent. So you think the Nuggets are going up? What do you think about the T-Wolves? Because that's the other team in this group that kind of intrigues me.
I think they're playing about at the level I expected them to. Like, I feel like they're going to be a solid team for the whole year, and they'll be ups and downs, but they're good. They have good players.
The surprising thing, their point differential would put them at, guess what, in the West?
4th.
5th.
Dang, that's pretty impressive.
So I don't know. I mean,
and I feel like they play good teams good too. Like when they're losing, they're not just getting ran over.
Yeah. No, I don't know. This has got to be one of the most promising moments as a T-Wolves fan in probably the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, and all it took was Anthony Edwards, a real dog, dude. So shout out to Anthony Edwards.
Love that motherfucker.
Yeah,
I love that motherfucker so much.
I mean, where do you think they're going from where they're
right now? My hope, my optimistic
now, what do you think?
hope,
what do you think?
I think they're going to end up in the play-in, and that's where my optimism put them. I don't know why. They're just a franchise I've rooted for. Going back to like the Levine Wiggins pairing, I was really a big fan of those two guys. And there's always just been a residual root for them. And then now, I mean, obviously Anthony Edwards is an awesome guy, but no, I think they can end up there. I think they have a chance at not missing the
I
play,
agree.
which is
I
nice.
agree. Hopefully they stay healthy.
Yeah,
I feel like
seriously.
that's their
And
downfall a lot.
even for Cat, I know like we've joked in the past, like our feelings for Karl Anthony Towns, maybe not on this podcast, but the stuff that he's gone through,
Right.
and to see kind of how you know, the NBA fans not have turned on him, but you know, he had bigger expectations at a different point in
Yeah.
his career. So it's
Yeah.
cool to see him kind of getting back on that track after the personal stuff he's gone through. So,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know. Blazers, I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up in the top 6, but I'm not going to be shocked if they end up in the play-in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'd have to say the same for the Grizzlies.
Yeah. The
Even with the
Grizzlies are
jaw injury, I think the jaw injury is going to tank their
they're heading down.
chances.
I mean, yeah. I think too, like there's the West is just strong, dude. I don't feel like they're that strong of a team right now.
My only worry about that is who's jumping up.
I like the Blazers and the Nuggets. Like I think that like, obviously, and I say down as in I give them the Batista because I don't think they're moving up, and I think that they'll sit nestled in the bottom of the play-in just based on there's no competition in the bottom of the West really. Maybe the Spurs will push a little bit, but I think their record from right now will go down.
That's fair.
Or no, the what they have as a
Yeah.
record right now, the rest of the season will be worse than that.
That's fair. That's fair.
But again, yeah, to your point though, I don't think that necessarily affects what the end of the season looks like for
because
them. It's going to be in a play.
the assumption is then that like the Kings or the Spurs or the Pelicans gain enough ground on them, and
Yeah, which like Lord knows that would take it. I mean, the Spurs would probably be the one that I could conceivably see actually pushing because the Pelicans are just horseshit.
yeah,
So
who knows? Maybe the Kings. I mean, they have the talent to. They should be able to, but it doesn't seem like they will.
I mean, the Kings are in the same boat as Pelicans, dude. Until you prove to me that you can do any god thing, I ain't gonna believe in you.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you want to jump up to the top 6?
Yeah, let's get it, man.
All right, we got the Warriors, the Suns, the Jazz, the Mavericks, the Clippers, and the Lakers. This is, with the exception of maybe the Nuggets not being there, this is about as predictable as it gets, in my opinion.
Although we've talked about this so much and I'm sick of talking about it, but I knew the Warriors were going to be good. I fucking knew it. But this good is hard to watch, dude. They are crushing teams every single night. And they're about to get back their second best player. What the fuck?
Yeah,
they're literally crushed every time. I feel like every night I look, they win by 25. It feels like that every night. And I know the stats wouldn't bear that out, but it feels like they win by 25 every night.
They're unstoppable. I mean, if anybody's picking anything except them to win the title, you're basing that on some predictive like change, because there's been no indication that they will like lose a game. I mean, they're world beaters.
I mean, I have to give them RVD because they can't do any better. They'd be undefeated.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that, I mean, it's crazy. It's probably my biggest surprise of the year when we go back and compare to the predictions. But I mean, all it took was like one game, and you're like, oh no, this is what it's going to be.
It's so weird that it was so horseshit last year. Like I know Steph missed games, but it's like they're unstoppable.
Yeah, I think part of that too is the Draymond stuff. There's been some stuff that's come out from him and some stuff about him about, oh, he wasn't in it, his heart wasn't in it, and that adds a different dimension too if he's contributing a little more. He's never gonna be the plus jump shooter he was for like that 1 year, but I don't know.
Now that we're on the subject of the Warriors, I need to come clean with you about something that I've been so hesitant to do for years and years and years and years and years and years. I like Klay Thompson. I just like him.
Same.
I like him, and I can't deny it anymore. And the things he does, and I don't know what it is about him as a person. I just like him, and it pains me to say I like any Warrior or any player who's played for the Warriors since they became what they are since Steph Curry was drafted. But I like Klay Thompson, and I can't sit here and say I hate him. Well, I can't.
I almost feel like
All
this
his
is some,
his boat videos, I love. They're funny as
yeah.
fuck to me. His like the classic interview where he was getting interviewed about the scaffolding in New York City, and but on even more on a serious note, the motherfucker playing with a torn ACL and trying to stay in the game. Like
Oh
he's a
yeah.
tough motherfucker. He's so good. And then
Plus,
also like him sitting on the bench the other night and the fans cheering his name and him just sitting there and soaking it in, just like because you can tell how emotional it is that he's so close to getting back on the floor after
mhm,
being literally almost having the game ripped away from him. Like, I love this motherfucker.
yeah.
I can't hate him.
I mean, we say a lot of things in jest when we talk about basketball, but ultimately, like, we idolize every single thing these guys represent. Like, they are literally our
Yeah.
heroes. They're the people, like, I think about basketball players constantly. So, like,
Right.
even the one I would deem like the one I hate the most is still a guy that if I saw him on the street, I would like get giddy with excitement. My hands would
Right.
sweat. So it's
Right.
like,
Right.
I don't ever want the criticism to get, too carried away, but it's
Unless it's
like,
Paul George.
it's my one rule, dude. It's my one rule.
One
But no,
bugaboo.
I feel like the Klay Thompson is similar to like the Aaron Rodgers. It's like everything in me says I should dislike you, but I kind of fucking like you,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
um,
I don't even kind of like Clay. I think he's actually awesome.
yeah, he's legitimately an awesome dude.
He makes me
It's it
laugh, and I respect him as a basketball player.
unironically
Yeah,
like
he's
he's
actually funny.
hilarious,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, he's a treat. We're lucky to be able to watch his career.
Dude,
And
and the way he wears his headband and his hairstyle literally looks like he's out of the 70s right now, dude.
I know,
80s.
dude.
And I guess people weren't really wearing headbands in the 70s like that. Some
Yeah,
slick
definitely
Watson
looks like
snap.
a throwback though.
Yeah, it's kind of
Um,
funny.
so I
I
guess
want to watch him play. I want to watch his first game
oh
back. I
god,
want to see that.
whatever that first flamethrower quarter that happens, I have to be watching that game
I just
live.
want to see
Which
the ovation, but I just want to see the ovations
oh,
get for stepping on the floor in San
buries
Francisco.
his first three. What if he hits like two? What if it's like a Zion-esque quarter?
Nobody will ever be
Zion's
that
first
good.
game.
That was some fuck.
True.
Oh my god.
Did he hit four
Don't
in a
even
row?
remind me. I think so. He scored like 17 points in a row to literally give him the lead. But then of course they choked it away. But
That was the crazy. Oh,
can you believe that? That was like a
one one of my happiest moments as a basketball fan was watching that. Just the pure joy that was. I felt like
yeah.
everybody was, even like the other players. Like, I don't know, that was
Yeah.
special.
And it made it even better that it started off so slow and you're like, oh fuck, here we go. This is a dud of a first game. And then it was all of a
Hmm.
sudden just like,
Barrage.
yeah, literally 350-pound Steph Curry. Good luck, league.
League. Fuck. Uh, all right. Well, I guess we asked this question in the East, ask it in the West. I'm assuming you got the Warriors coming out.
Yeah, well, wait a sec. I wanted to give another team an official rating.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
Clippers. I don't believe in it. I still don't believe in them, dude. Like I know that they're winning games, but it's like it's like a statistical curiosity to me. I feel like I've seen so many games where Paul George is maybe it's just one game, but I feel like I've seen games where Paul George 6 for 20, Reggie Jackson 5 for 17, and they win by 8 points. I'm like, how the fuck is
Yeah.
this happening?
Somebody gonna do something about this?
Yeah,
Shouldn't be
how about
allowed
you
to win
win?
games with
Yeah,
that.
how about somebody? And then yeah, I don't know. It's just
I'll
kind of
say the
odd to
same,
me.
dude. There's been so many games where I've just checked the box score and been like, nobody popped off. If anything, like, yeah, PG had a bad shooting night. The bet, like, not like Kennard or Man popped off. It was just kind of like,
Yeah,
it's like
and
a
I
12
think that
point win, a 6
I
point
think
win. You're like,
I'm doing a disservice as a basketball fan. I just need to watch and see how this is happening. Like watch a couple Clippers games and see like,
same.
oh, this is what it looks like when they're shooting for and why they're still winning games. Like
Well, like,
obviously they're doing something right.
I don't know, like, as much as I want to trash Paul George, like, he's shown the type, I mean, he can be a top 5 player in the league at his peak
And during the regular
powers.
season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's shown that he can do that. So, um, what was that? Granted, with COVID, it feels like a million years ago, but it was like, I don't know, 4 NBA seasons ago.
Yeah, it
But
seems like forever.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Anywho, well,
Is there
dang.
any other team when you talk about? Like, I mean, I guess the Mavericks. I don't know. I expected a
I
little
mean, the
less out of the
Mavs, like,
Mavericks.
if you want to go by the point differential thing, like, I haven't been impressed with them. I've seen 2 of their games. I was just like, and then I don't know, just not super convincing that. I mean, if you were to look at that and point to a team falling off, it'd be them. But we'll see. I mean, Kristaps has shown some promising things. Luka coming back from injury.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how things go with them. And then the Lakers. I mean, we could probably talk for another 30 minutes about the Lakers, but it wouldn't be any. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up in the play-in. I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up as like the 3 seed.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I wish I was more optimistic about them, but they're just like barely beaten teams that they should be destroying. Like they're
Mhm.
blowing huge leads to subpar teams, and it's just like I know that they need to figure it out still and like integrate. It's something you talked about earlier on an earlier podcast. Integrating Russ is not a small feat, and
No
not to say Russ is a bad player, but he's the type of player who has very
adjustment period.
strong tendencies, and he is very much Russ, and that's not a problem. But it takes the time to integrate that into team with like players like Anthony Davis and LeBron, who are very much high usage players who command a lot of attention. So I could see it getting better, but I could also see it staying the same. But I could
Well,
also
Mike,
see it getting worse.
what a hot take. No, I mean it's tricky with them.
This is my pace. This is my Lakers rating.
Cover the full gamut. Yeah, I mean, only time will tell on them. I will say it's been one of the least convincing. Like, not even looking at their roster composition, but if you just look at like the wins and quality of wins and the way they're winning games, it's been god awful. I mean, not convincing in any way.
Yeah, it's like you look at the Warriors, you look at the Lakers, they look like they play 2 different sports.
Oh yeah, I mean it's pretty bad, but we'll see. We'll see how the rest of the season shakes out. Who do you got coming out of the West then?
I mean, I'll stick with the Lakers just because, like, I'll stick with I haven't seen anything really. I mean, well, I take that back. The Warriors are playing better than I thought they would, even though I had the Warriors and the Lakers in the West Conference final. I mean, I'll stick with the Lakers because I'm just, I just believe in LeBron.
I have to throw this in there. We would be remiss if we didn't mention the Suns and the win streak they're on.
Yes, good call. Yeah,
Not to say that they're not like I'd consider them equally as strong as the Warriors, but the Warriors just have, we've just seen them do it for longer. So I'd feel more comfortable picking the Warriors over the Suns. But I don't know. 16-game win streak's pretty impressive.
I believe the Warriors play the Suns on Tuesday too. So we'll have to. Well, I want to.
Oh gosh, yeah, that'll be a must watch.
Yeah, it's tough to. I mean, I'd be interested to see like 20 games into the season, how many games have been played that have teams of these 2 records. And it, like you said, winning 16 games in a row, that's fucking crazy.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of nuts. I don't know. It's going to be a good. I feel like there's a good crop of legit contenders. Feels like there's 4 or 5 teams in each conference that I could legitimately see winning.
Yeah, I don't know. I would err on like the side of tough. We have differing opinions on the Heat, definitely. I would say like 2 in the East, 3
Really?
if I count the Sixers. Yeah. But
I would say Nets. I would say Nets, Heat, Bucks are all like lock contenders for me right now, and then I could maybe see flex the Sixers up. Depending on what they can do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of things that are playing out pretty much as we expected, but then there are teams that are surprised. Select few teams that are surprising us, and then like the Warriors are just doing something that is crazy,
unprecedented.
So, yeah, it'll be. I mean, who knows? Well, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what it'll look like when Clay comes back because they're such a well-oiled machine. I think Clay would be a minimal disruption just based on how he plays and what he brings to the table.
Might be a small adjustment period, but yeah. Well, I don't know. I guess I don't have a whole lot to add. I think we covered a lot of ground. I think we're up over an hour.
Quarter season wrap up, folks.
And if you guys have any, thoughts, feelings on the first kind of quarter of the season here, feel free to leave your opinions. Of course, we're always open to suggestion as well. So if anybody wants to see us cover a topic or
always open to share their opinion, comments. Always open to reporting comments.
Yes, please.
And having account shut down. Always open to it.
Block everyone.
All right. Well, on that note, dude, we'll get a goodbye from Mr. Monday Night himself. the whole effing show. He might be joining DC on the back wall. Actually, I could see
Yes,
that being
please, dude. Oh
start a
my
little
God.
collage back here.
All I know is next week's episode better have RVD's theme as the intro, dude. It's better, you mother.
Yeah, I might fuck around and do that. So, all right. Well, anyway, signing off for the Wax Chronicles. Bye, everyone.